Council agenda, Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, regular Township Council meeting of November 20th, 2018.
Posting of notice and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the municipal building and on the municipal website on December 20th, 2017, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the Newark Star Ledger on December 27, 2017, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers on December 20th, 2017. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Public Access Channel 21 at 7 p.m. Sundays and Wednesdays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
Please rise for flag salute. Peterson, if you would.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Present.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Carriffy?
Here.
Also in attendance are Township Attorney Jim Lott, Business Administrator Keith Kasmark, Mayor Michael Soriano, Business Administrator Ellen Sandman, Township Clerk Colette Madden, Council President. We have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, December 4th, 2018, 7:30 p.m. agenda meeting. December 28th, 2018, 7:30 p.m. regular meeting. Approval.
I'm sorry. I think that's a typo. December 28th is a Friday. December 18th, however, is a Tuesday.
That is correct.
That's correct.
And it is a typo. Sorry about that.
Okay, approval of minutes, agenda meeting September 11th, 2018, regular meeting September 25th, 2018, agenda meeting October 16th, 2018, regular meeting October 30th, 2018, and the agenda meeting November 8th, 2018. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion.
Second. Sorry.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call. Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, presentations, reports. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I'd like to start off with just a couple of dates for public information. On December 1st at 5 p.m. here at Town Hall, we're going to have a Santa visit and a Christmas tree lighting. On that Sunday, December 2nd at 7 p.m., we're going to have a menorah lighting that will include these four temples: Adath Shalom, Beth Am, Shai Havat, and the Shabbat Center of Northwest New Jersey.
What time?
7 p.m.
For both?
No.
7 p.m. both?
Yes. Okay, 5 p.m. for the Santa visit, which is December 1st.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't need to explain to this body what's been going on lately in the news. I would like as many people there as possible for both events, but I would like people that may not necessarily be of the Jewish faith to come to the December 2nd event, because I think we need to show people that Parsippany is a very giving and loving town, and that as a township, we are united and support and love the Jewish community here in Parsippany. And that's something a message that I want to send out there. And let's just say there's apprehension and a little bit of fear going on in that community. And I think knowing that they're supported and loved will help them enjoy the holidays a bit more. So please join me for that. I have two proclamations and then one more announcement. I'd like to read this first proclamation into the record. Whereas the government of Parsippany-Troy Hills, New Jersey celebrates our local small businesses and contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 30 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States and are responsible for 65.9% of the net new jobs created from 2000 to 2017. And whereas small businesses employ 47.5% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, And whereas 90% of consumers in the United States say Small Business Saturday has had a positive impact on their community. And whereas 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said the day encourages them to shop small all year long. And whereas 73% of consumers who reportedly shop small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends or family. And whereas the most reported reason for consumers aware of the day to shop and dine at small, independently owned businesses was to support their community, 64% by the way. And whereas Parsippany-Troy Hills, New Jersey supports our local business that creates jobs, boosts our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Michael Soriano, the mayor of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, do hereby proclaim November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday, and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year, dated this 20th of November, 2018.
Thank you.
Thank you. For this second reading, I would like to call up Joan Garbino and members of the Women's Club of Parsippany.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Okay.
Thank you.
A proclamation. Whereas we have a responsibility as individuals, neighbors, community members, and citizens of Parsippany-Troy Hills to recognize that all children need love, support, security, and a place to call home. And whereas for children who are born into families unable to meet their ongoing needs, adoption offers healthy and safe family environments which help produce confident and successful adults. And whereas families who choose the life-changing path of adoption make a meaningful and lasting difference in the lives of some of the most vulnerable young people in our society. And whereas adoptive parents and families require and deserve community and public agency respect and support. And whereas during National Adoption Month, we celebrate all those who have invited a child in need into their hearts and into their homes and express our profound appreciation for all who help make adoptions possible. And whereas court-appointed special advocates, programs, and volunteers in Parsippany-Troy Hills help to ensure that children in foster care or other out-of-home placements are adopted into safe, loving homes within their own families, cannot meet their needs. And now, therefore, I, Michael Soriano, Mayor of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, do hereby proclaim November 2018 as National Adoption Month, and I urge all citizens to support organizations such as the court-appointed special advocates and engage in activities that strengthen families and communities to provide the optimal environment for children to learn, grow, and thrive, so that all children have the benefit of happy, healthy, and safe homes, dated this 20th day of November, 2018. There's one thing I like to do is to steal your thunder. And before I end my report, on December 1st, the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills is going to be without Ellen Sandman. And her last day is the end of this month, to which we're going to have quite a party now, aren't we, Ellen?
We are.
And we will be reading I will be reading a proclamation there. I didn't want to read it here at the council meeting. Council has their own, but I at least wanted an opportunity to say, Ellen, thank you so much for everything you've done for me personally, to make me feel welcomed here, and to help me with the transition. What you've done to work with me and the staff I respect and love how much you love your job and your profession and how seriously you take it and the passion that you tackle your job every day. And 44 and a half years. I thought it was 44. She added the half. She sounded like my daughter when she was 7 years old. She said, I'm 7.5. Ellen, God bless you. Thank you so much that you've done here for this township. And Denville's not too far away, right?
No.
You'll come by for lunch once in a while.
Absolutely.
I can go to Denville. You have a place or two
We
to
have a
eat there.
place or two.
Good, just one or two. All right. But Ellen, thank you very much, and God bless you. And let's get a round of applause from everyone here.
Oh, you're gonna just drop the mic.
Mike. Coming up.
Thank you. Okay. Yep.
You know, the mayor said 44 and a half years. You know, when people find out that I've been teaching at the academy for 30 years, I tell them back then you could get on the job at 10. So, you know, you got on the job at 10.
Thank you.
All right. So, you know, I've had the privilege of working with you for 4.5 years, and you know, I always bust your chops. I always say you, instead of working 60, 70 hours a week, you should have worked 75, 80. But you know, it is true. There's times where you could drive by here on a weekend, and you know, there's Ellen's car out here. So it really. It really has been a privilege to work with you. You know, you've always been there. You've offered advice on a lot of things. You're very knowledgeable. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. You know, 44 and a half. You know, you got on the job when you were 10. We both did. But I'm going to read this for you, and you know, we're going to miss you. We really are. Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills Certificate of Recognition presented to Ellen Sandman in gratitude of your unwavering standard of excellence as business administrator and in appreciation of the countless hours, definitely countless hours, of dedicated service to the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills and its residents. We wish you best wishes for a long, happy, and healthy retirement, dated this 20th day of November 2018.
Just a couple of words. I go back with Ellen when I was president of the Morris County League of Municipalities some 25, 26 years ago. Ellen was my first vice president, and Sally Anacone was my second vice president. We had a really dynamic group, and we got a lot of things accomplished during those years. And we've been very, very good friends ever since. Ellen, I love you.
Thank you. I'm gonna have you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna say.
You know, because I don't
Yeah.
want to. I haven't.
Because Ellen tends to go over the
Go
5
on.
minutes.
So, this is the Board of Education.
No exceptions.
I'll wait till you're.
I'll make sure I give you your 1 minute.
Thank you.
30
Yes.
seconds.
They may- Yeah. I'm good. Good.
Okay, at this time, we have on the schedule here a presentation by RD Realty, and just wanted to say a couple things. At our last meeting, there had been a discussion that had come up in reference to the Waterview development over there, and with RD Realty, looking to make a change to the agreement in one of the stores, the amount of space there, and we had made a proposal in reference to that and the Shake Shack, which was an issue as far as on that property. Since that meeting, I have met with Mr. Dave Kaplan, who is the representative for that neighborhood and that area over there, as well as the developer. And Mr. Kaplan had met with the developer prior to me attending a meeting, and had addressed a number of concerns with the developer in reference to what is going on over there, and with the Shake Shack and potential odors that could be coming out of that, as well as a number of other issues with the development and the property. When I got to that meeting, I was informed by Mr. Kaplan that the developer was in agreement to fix, make changes to, and take care of all issues and concerns of the residents of that area. I double-checked that with Mr. Kaplan. He is here tonight, so I'm going to ask him to come up when I'm done, just to address that. And I know there's a representative here from RD as well. I stated to them that I would like all of these things. Obviously, they're going to have to get together with Mr. Lott, and this is going to have to be done, with
That actually goes to Mr.
or
Opal.
Mr. Yes,
Yep,
or,
Opal's
okay,
here.
over there, yes. And have that in writing. But again, the neighborhood over there, all of the people, it's been addressed. Mr. Kaplan has taken care of that, and that RD Realty is willing to take care of all issues and concerns of the residents in that area. So I just wanted the rest of the council members to know that. Mr. Kaplan's here. I'm going to ask him just to come up and speak for a minute or two, just to advise the rest of the council of that. And then if any council members have any questions of Mr. Kaplan or the representative, they can ask that at this time.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Good evening, Council. As Council President Griffey stated, I did have several very productive conversations with Rick Burdoff, who is the principal owner of RD Realty. He called after that last council meeting at which I spoke. He called me the next day, said he wanted to get together and talk. We had multiple email exchanges, multiple phone conversations. Rick and Joe Forgione came out to my property. Looked at some of the concerns that I had in terms of the lines of sight. The development is not as hidden as we were initially led to believe, and they agreed to plant a row of evergreens at the top of, so my backyard goes up the hill, then water just kind of set down at the top of that hill along Forest. That's something that's got to be worked out with the council, because that is now technically township land. So you guys are going to have to work on that. But that there's no objection from the neighborhood. It's actually something we would like. The primary concern there would be the lights, because right now it's really a clear shot to the sky over Route 46. The lights are not installed in the development yet, and once those get put in and are operational, they're going to have a negative impact on the houses along Intervale and Forest. So that's going to be taken care of. We talked about the fence. We looked at various places where that fence should go. We want to get it away from our properties as much as possible. So that's going to go in between RD's property and the township property. The purpose of that fence and why it's so important to us is we don't want people leaving Shake Shack and hanging out in the woods and cutting through our properties, because that is now it's going to be a very heavily trafficked area. They need to stay out of the woods there. And then probably the most concerning piece to us were the odors off of the Shake Shack. RD has agreed to purchase what's called a scrubber that will be placed on the roof of Shake Shack. Rick had conversations with Shake Shack representatives, and they pitched him this unit, and they said this is what they use when they build close to residential neighborhoods, and they've had no complaints from the residents and other Shake Shacks that are close to houses. So that is going to be installed on the roof. I spoke to multiple, I didn't keep track, I want to say roughly 15 residents in the Intervale area who are close to the Waterview property. Nobody had any additional concerns. Everyone was satisfied with that. Again, Council President Carriffy came out, we confirmed everything. At that point, it was left at a handshake, so again, you know, we've got to get that finalized. But I will say, RD was very responsive, and he said if even along the way, before things are finished, there are other concerns that come up that we haven't predicted, that just come as a course of the finalization of the project, to reach out to him, and he will work with the residents. He said he considered himself a neighbor and a taxpayer in town, and he wants to fit in with the neighborhood. So I was very optimistic with his approach. I was appreciative of his approach, and I have not heard any concerns from anyone in Intervale. So
Thank you.
thank you. I really appreciate the council's support.
Thank you. Okay, Township Attorney?
Council President, I'm sorry, there's nothing else related to RD Realty, or will there anything that will come up with regards to RT Realty? Only reason because we have the attorneys here, and I'd rather not keep them the entire meeting if that's going to be the case.
So we'll open up if anybody has any questions. for that.
If we could now
Okay,
at this point,
yeah.
since we're already talking about
Is there-
RD.
Are there any members of the public that has any questions?
We'll
or-
see if the attorneys want to
Okay,
talk.
go ahead.
Council President, members of the council, my name is Peter Flannery. I'm an attorney for RD Realty, LLC. I can represent that Mr. Kaplan accurately described the measures that RD Realty will take, and we can distill those in writing. The other issue that we'd like the council's attention on tonight is there is a proposed amendment to the 2015 settlement agreement. It's a rather simple amendment which changes some of the maximum square footage amounts for individual tenant spaces and buildings within the shopping center. This is primarily to accommodate HomeSense, which is a high-end niche retailer coming in. They require a larger tenant space than is currently permitted under the settlement agreement. And as a result of that tenant, there's also a shifting of some of the maximum sizes of other tenant spaces and buildings within the shopping center. Overall, though, the square footage will not increase. In fact, it will decrease over what's approved per the current settlement agreement. And I have Mr. Shirok Thakar, our consultant engineer here, who can describe the numbers and the shopping center configuration in a little more detail if the council so wishes.
I don't think it's necessary. As long as the square footage is not increased, you're moving a wall. And our concern was the Shake Shack, and that's been addressed, so I don't really have any other concerns.
Right.
The one issue, though, unfortunately, the 2015
Speaking to the
settlement
mic.
agreement has a
Speaking to the mic.
specific provision in it which requires that if we're going to change the square footage amounts, we need a resolution from the council
Right.
approving this amendment.
Right.
Right.
So
okay.
that's
So
Which-
you need a resolution from us.
Right.
correct.
Which we'll
What we'll do is, given that everything has been handled and all the issues are now squared away, we will place a resolution at the second meeting in December for action by the council, and that will be, I believe, December 18th.
Thank you.
we're just gonna need to get all of that.
Well, we're going to have
All that
Mr.
stuff
Opal, if you
writing
can just
and all the
coordinate
legal
with
things
our
taken
attorney
care
here,
of.
Mr. Opal, and you guys can coordinate, and then we could take it from there.
Right.
Yeah,
I think the
that's
form of
what-
agreement has been presented, but there are other details that need to be worked out, I believe. So
I have a question.
Good.
Does this have to go before the planning board?
it may eventually. This
Well,
is the
because we had that last night, it came up, and
Right.
and so I'm just wondering, do you need the planning board would have to review any of the changes, wouldn't they?
possibly, certainly, but the first step would be amending the agreement. That's
If the
first
total,
step in the
if the
process.
footprint hasn't changed,
Well, they're putting in trees, they're putting in a fence, it's a restaurant now, before it was a retail store, I think there
No,
may.
it was either a bank or.
Well, a bank,
or-
but now
or-
it's a.
No,
now
bank
it's a,
or a restaurant. It was either bank or fed.
But wasn't it conditional on parking spaces?
there was something in parking there, but it was
Right.
optional for either.
Well, I think that's a question that we need to determine.
Correct. There will be a
There has
process.
to be,
It
you
will
know, whether
follow
the
the-
lighting, signage, whatever is gonna be
Certainly.
different.
You need to-
We'll certainly
in the
follow
agreement.
all
We would need to approve.
proper processes, but I think the first step is just getting the agreement amended. That really starts the entire process here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions, concerns, or issues? Because the attorneys will be leaving, and that will be your chance out the door. So if there are any questions, please just bring them now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, our only concern, the reason we put that in there about moving the walls for RD Realty was we did not want a box store to go there, so we didn't want all of the walls to disappear and have one big store. That's what we were trying to avoid. So we said anytime you move a wall, you have to come back to the township for approval. You're not building a box store, you're moving a wall for one particular customer. Footprint doesn't change. I don't have any problem with it.
So we'll get that on for the second meeting.
Thank you, Council President. We're all set. Thank you, Bill.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to have a presentation on the annual budget.
So
for
we need the
Board of Ed.
Township Attorney report first.
Right. Oh, did you?
I don't think he reported. I kind of...
I have no report. Happy Thanksgiving.
That's what he said.
Sorry. I didn't get that for the record. Okay.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have a presentation, the annual budget of the Board of Education. Superintendent Barbara Sargent.
Good evening, council members, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this evening. Good evening to our residents and to our school board members. And if I may offer a correction, what I'm presenting this evening is our district goals for the 2018-19 school year. As a school district, we don't begin to prepare our budget for the 2019-20 school year until December, and then there will be formal presentations at our public board meetings as we get closer to March and April. It's been my practice in other school communities where I've worked to always ask permission to present district goals at the town council meetings. I just think it's good practice for the town council and for the community to be aware of the very fine things that are happening in the schools and the goals that we've set for ourselves. The town council members have paper copies of the presentation for anyone in the audience who is interested. These goals were presented to our board in October, and they are posted on our school district website, and you're welcome to visit there and to certainly reach out to me with any questions you may have. Want to preface our district goals by just explaining that just a little over 2 years ago, the Parsippany-Troy Hills School District engaged in a strategic planning endeavor, and that was prior to my coming on board. With the assistance of a consultant, the township, the school district worked with community members, school district members, students and staff and parents to engage in decision-making and brainstorming about areas in which they wanted to enrich and improve the lives of the students and the faculty. And as a result of that very rich work, established 3 strategic planning goals that will really guide our work over the next several years. And if I may read those out loud, strategic goal number 1 is that our district will create an innovative and rigorous educational experience in a borderless learning community that produces creative students who are problem solvers and self-directed individuals. So when we refer to strategic planning goal number 1, we generally refer to this as our student-aimed goal or our student academic-aimed goal. Goal number 2 speaks to a student's social and emotional experiences. All students will receive social and emotional support to become adaptable, confident citizens who embody self-awareness and strong interpersonal skills capable of responsible decision-making and managing their emotions and behaviors. That's a lot. And goal number 3 essentially speaks to our adult learner population, our teaching staff, our paraprofessionals, our support staff. Our community of adult learners will be fully engaged in professional growth experiences which enable them to continuously hone their craft and maximize student achievement. So these three huge umbrella goals will really guide our district's work over the next several years. What we do next is then we take those very large strategic planning goals and we determine very specific annual district goals, and that's what I'm presenting this evening. So if we come back to goal number 1, which was essentially our student academic goal, what we've done is we've established on the left-hand column very specific strategies related back to that. And our aim is to complete these by the end of this school year in June. So you'll see such strategies as we have a number of different curriculum renewal plans in place related to updating math curriculum, updating social studies curriculum, updating literacy curriculum, and each of those are posted here just because they have direct importance in what our students are learning about and the instructional strategies we're using in the classroom. We are looking to, on number 3, explore borderless learning opportunities for our high school students. This would include specifically some online learning opportunities. We know that as our students now go into community college, 2-year and 4-year colleges, many of those college courses that they'll be engaged in may be online learning opportunities. And I feel strongly that it's smart for us to help our students learn to navigate an online learning forum while they're in our high schools and our middle schools, while they have parents who love and care for them surrounding them before they get out into college and those support systems aren't necessarily in place. So we're exploring some online learning opportunities for our students as well. Also under strategic planning goal number 1, we are looking to implement something called a Genius Hour in our high school classes. This is where high school students are really able to determine a project that is of particular passion to them that may not be directed within that particular subject area. Most specifically, let me explain that for students who take advanced placement classes, AP classes, as some of us may know, have their exam in May. That's established by the College Board, so that's already predetermined. And once that exam is done, the curriculum has essentially been taught, and that leaves the rest of May and much of June for the teacher to add additional enrichment learning opportunities for the students. A Genius Hour put in place of that really allows students the last 6 weeks almost of school to be pursuing areas of interest, to be conducting their own research, to be trying out new programs. And we had a few teachers try that out this past year. Some students taught themselves to make movies, and then they presented their movies to their classmates. We had other students who went out and conducted interviews with senior citizens in the community and then reported back to their classmates. So it's an opportunity for students to really begin to establish a personal goal for themselves, set out how they're going to accomplish it, and then come back with a final product for their teacher. We're looking to expand that further this year. We're looking to expand our one-to-one initiative. Currently in grades 9 through 12, all of our students have 24-hour access to a Chromebook laptop device. They're able to bring it home. They're able to do all of their schoolwork on it. Many of their textbooks are accessible online, and so it really creates more of that borderless learning opportunity. We want to be able to understand both the learning implications and the financial implications of then bringing that into our middle school, and whether that would be grades 6, 7, and 8, or just grade 8, or just grade 6. That's part of what we'll be exploring this year, both through our budget process and through our district goal work. We're looking to increase STEM opportunities at all grade levels. STEM would be science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities. It's been so exciting to watch a new robotics class in place at our middle and our high school. We have robotics teams at both high schools that compete across New Jersey, and honestly, the kids are just so passionate and excited about the work that they do. They craft the machine has to take on certain tasks, and then they're competing against other high school teams, and then you rank up, and then you get to compete regionally and nationally, and those clubs are supervised by our own teaching staff. So it's really neat to see how much above and beyond our teachers go for our students each and every day. We are looking to expand elective offerings at our middle school. This is being handled two ways. One, our teachers have been proposing different classes that they think students would be interested in, but additionally, Mr. Gray, who is our Central Middle School principal, and Dr. Betts, our Brooklawn Middle School principal, surveyed their 6th and 7th grade students, because those are the students who will be still in middle school next year, about what sorts of elective classes they would like to see offered. And so we've had such things as sports and literature, coding at an advanced level, which has been really neat. I feel very strongly about listening to student voice and giving students leadership opportunities within their school lives. That's, you know, where they spend a good deal of their time. And so we'll be looking at our ability to staff those classes and to run them as electives for next year at our middle school. Still within strategic planning area number 1, we're looking to expand our world language experiences for our students. Right now at the middle school especially, when children leave our elementary school, grade 6 is really their first year of daily world language instruction, and 6th grade is really just a half of a year. So children will choose either Spanish or French or Italian. They'll do a semester of that language, and then they'll go into an elective study. And then they'll do a full year in 7th grade and a full year in 8th grade. We'd like to move students to a full year of language study beginning in 6th grade. I think it's a missed opportunity that they only do a half of a year and then go into an elective before doing a full year in 7th grade. We think that that will not only bring us students that come with a stronger language experience as they move through high school. We've seen in other school districts where they've implemented very similar changes that students then tend to take more than 2 years of a world language. And we know, for those of us who studied language in high school, you generally don't get really proficient and fluent at it until level 3 or level 4. And so this is an opportunity to really strengthen our students' experience and exposure to world languages, and I think provide them with a stronger college-going experience as well. We have additional curriculum work happening, as I indicated, in mathematics and literacy. We're looking to further explore our partnership with the County College of Morris. I've been in many conversations with their academic dean about offering a dual enrollment experience for our Parsippany students. Essentially what that would mean is within very select courses, if students are enrolled in a class at Parsippany High School or Parsippany Hills High School, and the county college has reviewed our syllabus, reviewed our curriculum, vetted the teacher with regard to that teacher's credentials at a nominal amount, not nearly what a parent would pay for a county college level course, that student could also be gaining college credit at the same time they're sitting in the high school class. The student would never need to leave our campus, and yet at the end of the school year, they would not only get transcript credit on Parsippany for that class, but they would have college credit through CCM for that class. Raritan Valley does something very similar with all of the Somerset County schools, and I've been really excited by the really nice opportunity that CCM has been offering us in thinking through this. We're aiming for that to be in place for September, at least on a very small level. With goal number 2, which is our student social and emotional learning experiences, we're starting really at the elementary level here and then growing our way up. We had a really dynamic committee of parents, board members, teachers, and guidance counselors explore a number of different character education and social and emotional learning programs. And we've identified one called Sanford, coming out of Stanford University in California, that is available, and we'll be training our counselors and our teachers on how to implement those lessons and those learning opportunities with our students starting in grades K through 5. And then we would look the following year to grow that up into middle and high school. Essentially, the lessons would look like things like helping students as they enter to be greeting one another, to be recognizing when you're having issues, how to ask for help in a way that's respectful, and really having kids advocate for themselves, because I think those are skills that carry throughout life. Additionally, within this area, we're looking to establish a mindfulness program throughout the district. We've done a lot of this already with our teaching staff so that when we have district in-service opportunities, we're providing techniques that teachers can use with their students on helping students to live more stress-free lives, to study for tests in a way that really stretches out the work so we're not cramming and making ourselves anxious in a small amount of time. We're looking to make some schedule changes, both at our elementary level and at our high school level. At the elementary level, that work is already in place this year. In grade 5, which is the last year of our elementary schools, in grade 5, rather than having one 5th grade teacher for all of your subject areas, this year we've divided out our content. So for example, at Intervale School, there are 2 sections of 5th grade. One of those teachers this year is teaching math and science. One of those teachers is teaching language arts and social studies, and then they switch their groups. Not only is that smart practice for our teachers, so they're not preparing for 4 content areas. The content, by the time we get to 5th grade, is very rigorous, but it's also great for our students because they're getting practice changing classes, moving through the halls, getting used to different teachers, philosophies, and practices in a very controlled way, in a very welcoming elementary school before they move into a much larger middle school setting. So that's already in place this year and going extremely well. Our high school has been working for more than a year on implementing a modified block schedule program, which would allow for students to spend a longer period of time in classes and to model more of what happens in a college setting, where in a college setting you're not meeting with that class and that teacher every single day. We've seen a number of area districts, Cranford, Mount Olive, Madison, already have such a schedule in place for several years, and we've made visits there. Our aim would be to implement that at both of our high schools in September next year. Still within the category of social and emotional learning, looking to really strengthen the way we transition students as they move from pre-kindergarten, if they're with us for that, into kindergarten, then from our 5th grade into our middle school, from our 8th grade into our high school, and then from 12th grade into college, career, armed forces, military, whatever that may be. We want to make sure that as we're leaving, as our students are leaving us, it's not a permanent goodbye, that we've really transitioned them so that they feel they still have resources here that they can come back to, but we're also supplying with them the skills that they need to really be able to take off and fly on their own. We're exploring a one book, one school initiative, which would be an entire school, Brooklawn Middle School, for example, where all the students are reading one book, all of the staff are reading one book, and then engaging in discussions and study sessions surrounding that. And then also looking to consider how we assess our district's achievement in areas of social and emotional growth. It's much easier for a school district, I think, to assess how our students are doing academically. We have a number of different assessments that help us with that. But how do you assess mindfulness in students? How do you assess students who are better advocates or demonstrating strong leadership skills? And I feel strongly about pursuing assessment in those areas as well so that we know how we're doing and can report back out on that. And then finally, within our 3rd goal, which speaks to our adult learners and how we support our teachers and our community of faculty members, we are looking to develop a professional learning framework which really differentiates what training looks like in our district. I think many of us have worked in organizations or been in schools where it was a one-size-fits-all, where everybody goes into an auditorium and they get that speaker and that's your training for that day. I don't think that's good use of our time. I don't think it's a good use of our funding. And everybody has different needs. Our brand new teachers have a particular set of needs. Our teachers who are 10 and 12 and 15 years in the position have a very different set of needs. And I feel strongly, just as we should be differentiating instruction for our students, that we should be doing that for our faculty members as well. Our board members will know if you were in our district on election day when our students were home, but our staff members were here for professional learning opportunities. We had a menu of options, and we ran 2 different 90-minute sessions in the morning, 2 different 90-minute sessions in the afternoon, and each teacher had more than 30 or 40 different options to choose from each of those sessions. Those options ranged from some things that might have been mandatory, for 90 minutes, such as we have some new science work we're doing, which is required by the Department of Education because there are new inquiry-based science standards being rolled out into the schools. So we captured teachers for that amount of time and really talked them through that work. But that was only one 90-minute out of the other opportunities that they had. There were opportunities for students, for our teachers to hear from one of the prosecutors from the Morris County Prosecutor's Office on opioid abuse and supporting students and adults. We had a number of different fitness and mindfulness related opportunities for our teachers to explore. We offered different sessions on how to teach writing workshop better, how to be a stronger reading teacher, different resources within the libraries that teachers can use. So there were really an abundance of opportunities for our teachers to have a lot of choice about how they wanted to be spending their time on that day. And I really feel strongly that just treats people professionally, and if you have a day of in-service, you want that learning to matter and be relevant to you, and so that's what our work is beginning to look like in Parsippany as we encounter each of those really critical in-service learning opportunities. Finally, within goal number 3, I'm also really looking to make sure that for teachers who are exploring leadership opportunities, and for some of that are teachers, those leadership opportunities will still keep them in our classrooms. We need master teachers who are 20 and 25 and 30 years in that building or in that district. They come with a lot of great history of what's been happening and what's worked and hasn't worked. But then we also have some teachers who will leave us to pursue supervisory work or administrative work. And so whether their leadership remains in the classroom or whether their leadership takes them to other opportunities, we want to really support that. Ambition is not a bad thing in Parsippany-Troy Hills, not with our students and not with our staff. And so we feel strongly about really grooming and supporting teachers, whether it's helping them to be writing journal articles for professional journals, whether it's presenting at state and national level conferences, as we've begun to have some of our supervisors and principals do already. Not only is that good for their own resume building, it's great for Parsippany. It gives a really great name to the kind of people who work with us and the kind of learning that happens in our school district. And so, council members, though that is the work that we are engaged in for this particular school year, what I've explained to our board members, and I'll reiterate for the purpose of the council, the strategic planning goals will not change. We will be working on that over the next 4 and 5 years. But every year, the district goals will go deeper and be richer as we accomplish some things and then begin to tackle new ones. But everything will be nuanced back under the strategic planning initiatives. So I find that's really exciting. By regularly talking about it, by regularly giving our board members progress checks, it keeps the work active, it keeps the work dynamic, and it's never the sort of plan that sits on a shelf and goes nowhere. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you this evening, and really thank you for the opportunity to work in this community, because it's just such a rich and rewarding place, and I'm very lucky to be here.
Thank you.
I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
My son is in kindergarten, so I'm excited to watch this through his eyes as well.
Thank you, Dr. Sargent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, Business Administrator, Ellen?
As you heard, 44 and a half years, so it's been quite a roller coaster ride of a great journey, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to spend the last 4.5 years as the business administrator here in Parsippany.
30 seconds.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
12 years. I'll have to talk Hudson County speak, and that's rather quickly. 12 years in Jersey City, and I had the opportunity to work my way up to the assistant BA, and then for 9 days I was the acting BA in the second largest city, so it did hone my skills there. 21 years in Denville, had the opportunity to work with not only the utilities, but with I wore the hat also of the public safety director. 7 years in Mendham, and then thought I was going to retire, and somebody called me from Parsippany and said, no, we think you're just done in Mendham, but you should come to Parsippany, and I did. So anyway, what I'd like to just talk about, it's a remarkable amount of things that got accomplished, and the reason is because Parsippany, as well as you have just stated through just on the Board of Education, the community of Parsippany is so vast and so rich that there were so many things to get done, and I've left you a few things, Keith, a good few things. We weren't able to get them all done, but I'm only in Denville, so I'd be happy to be a phone call away to just, even if I just become some of your support, go. So one of the things that was done, it only took 27 years, but was Forge Pond. And I see Lou is here, and originally they were going to give us $400,000, but I think through Lou's effort, we actually received $600,000 to do a remarkable project, and also at that time 128 acres were given as open space. But as you look at the symbol up here, actually the Forge Pond is somewhere where actually George Washington received his armaments, and it was one-stop shopping, and he got the cannonballs, and it's reflected up there. Another thing that was or 5 years in the making is after the storms, there was an opportunity to receive back into the community after much work through lots of departments and lots of people. Over $5 million came back to Parsippany for those storms. Manor Lake Dam, another thing that was 20 years in the making, and I would like to report that it actually looks very nice now, and it was done in this last 4 years. The Smith Baldwin House, grants received through the county, upwards of $700,000. Very proud of that. While you are here, one of the things that was the first thing as a shared service, a true shared service, was the SRO program. I mean, the SRO program, and that was established where there was some funding provided by the Board of Education, and that again has blossomed into the Class 3s, and the shared service and the shared energies of entities that blend very well together for the purpose of safety, and again in this day and age. So that has been a tremendous program that continues to just improve. The other thing with regard to the police department is, while I'm on shared services, is the radio system. That will provide for our first responders a tremendous amount of better communication, but it will also add to the community, and we will be able to have a big shared service. So that'll be something on your watch, where communities in the area who have not gone to the county can certainly come to Parsippany, who will do it better and for less. So anyway, one of the other things we've done as far as shared services is the court system. Boonton and Rockaway Borough now share with us the court system, and again, it's been a very successful program. Minor things that are not so minor, because it was about safety, is we've throughout the entire community have improved our fuel system and the delivery of that, and making it safe, and also provided it for the volunteer service to receive their fuel through the town. One of the big things with regard to the sewer was the Skyview pump station. We had an emergency back about 5 years ago where there was a bad break, and we had to go through Morris Township and also through Morris Plains. That now has been established that we have our own pump station. It's been built out, and the savings on that are approximately $200,000 plus that we do not have to pay out of the sewer utility. The other thing that we did was, in working with the department, the sewer department and the sewer utility was, we found that there were customers that were from Denville, had nothing to do with it, that were getting the gallonage, and we were providing a service for them, and that has all been worked out to the tune of an additional $136,000. So, in working with the water department, we've worked on improving the water towers and coming back with very good bids on that, as well as working in the last 4 years, working out a new agreement with the provision of additional water. That being said, there's things like working with COA and the Special Needs Project. We've done quite a number of those over the last couple of years. LOSAP, which is a program that provides for our volunteers a benefit for them and their services, and we've went to a firm, Lincoln, that will provide much better financial support to them for doing that volunteer service that they do. A thing called Gov Deals has become another asset where we sell to people can bid on things that are no longer required by the community, and that's brought in over $200,000, plus the fact that it's cleaned up areas. I played a little part in, others more, happy to be part of the Knoll with the driving range and all the other things. UPS, 1,000 jobs, and whatever one may think of pilots. In this case, the pilot was a big success because it's the best pilot in the state of New Jersey ever, because all the money comes up front, and that's the first 10 years, pretty much what you would get in 30 years, we're getting in the first 10 years, so that will really help. Craftman Farms, what can I say? It's a national and an international location, and I was happy to work with those folks. There's more that we could say, but in the interest of time, I would just like to leave you with 5 of the things that I've tried to live my life. It's called the Paradoxical Commandments. You may have heard of the 10 that were posted in Calcutta. Mother Teresa would have these 10 tenets that she followed through her life. I will talk of 5 of them, paraphrasing some of them. And here they go. Honesty and frankness makes you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only the top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, and when you try to help them, sometimes they wind up attacking you. Help them anyway. And the last one is, give the world the best you have, and you may get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. So I've tried to give the best to Parsippany. So, and again, you're not. Thank you. And then so I'm doing pretty good with the cutting the time and not the tears. But I just want to say I only wish so much good, because this community has it all, warts and all, as we say. But you there's good neighbor, there's good camaraderie, and we can only improve upon it. As the mayor is talking about with regard to what's happening in the world, come celebrate the lights of Christmas, come celebrate the lights of the menorah, because as you know, in the darkness, when that one little light goes, so let's all be the lights that we can be. Thank you. And we don't have a microphone, and I don't want to break anything.
No, you got it. You're good. You're good.
Okay. No, you wanted to.
Oh, you want to drop the mic?
Yeah, he's telling me, and when you finish, you just drop the mic. So, in deference to Colette getting a little upset. So, anyway.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kazmark, anything?
Through you, Council President, I just want to thank Ellen from the bottom of my heart for this transition period that I've had the opportunity to experience over the last 7 weeks. When you come into a new position like this and you're going to have the opportunity to mirror someone for a period of time, you don't quite know what to expect. I don't know that this experience could have been better for either one of us. I hope that I have shown her the due respect in her outgoing number of weeks here. When I joined the team in Elmwood Park 12 years ago, I did not have this luxury. There was no transition. I got dropped in cold. And I think that Parsippany will be better off for the experience that she and I have had together.
Correct.
And I will be taking you up on the fact that you'll be a phone call and a
Phone
town
call.
away. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Township Clerk, Mr. Madden.
Yes, two things, Council President. One, Ellen, it's been truly a pleasure working with you. Just want to say that, and then I'll reserve the rest for later. Second, there were two ordinances that were introduced on October 30th, 2018.